What's up, everyone? The most significant upcoming NBA event is the NBA Draft, which is set to happen on November 18th. In this video, we're going to do a mock draft of the lottery picks, meaning just picks 1 through 14. But before we continue, if you like videos like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as your support helps me to produce more dope content. Now let's continue. With the number 1 pick, the Timberwolves are going to roll with Anthony Edwards. This is a pretty obvious choice for the Wolves. Not only is Edwards super talented, but the two other top guys in the draft, LaMelo Ball and James Wiseman, both play the same position as their dynamic duo of Cat and D'Lo. With Edwards, they're not only getting a player who fits their young core, but a young player with an all-star upside. Edwards is an extremely athletic 2-guard, and he has good size for the position at 6'5" with a 6'9" wingspan. He can score the ball from anywhere on the court, whether it's a drive to the hole or creating his own jumper off the dribble. He's not without his flaws, as he has questionable shot selection and lacks motor on the defensive end, but this is a great pick for the Timberwolves. With the second pick, the Warriors will select LaMelo Ball. Many mock drafts have the Warriors selecting Wiseman because he fits more of a positional need at center, but I don't think the Dubs are in love with Wiseman or any prospect in this draft for that matter. It's already been reported by many media outlets that the Golden State Warriors aren't too high on James Wiseman. Why is this? Because Wiseman has a very small sample size of games to draw analysis from. He only played 3 games for the Memphis Tigers. Furthermore, he doesn't really fit into the Warriors' defensive schemes, as the Warriors like agile bigs that can play switch defense, and while Wiseman is a good shot blocker, he isn't a big that can guard perimeter players in space. Instead, the Dubs will go with LaMelo Ball, who many scouts view as the highest upside player in this draft. Ball is a huge 6'7" point guard who's a tremendous passer, along with having excellent ball handling skills. Ball is an awkward fit since the Warriors already have the best backcourt in the league when healthy, but I think the Dubs prefer to leverage that number 2 pick as a trade asset for when a superstar like Giannis or Embiid becomes available. For that reason, the Warriors will draft LaMelo Ball since he could be a huge asset in a trade for a superstar a year from now. With the number 3 pick, the Hornets select James Wiseman. With this pick, the Hornets fill a huge positional need. They're already good at guard between Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier. And while Bismack Biyombo and Cody Zeller are solid centers, neither of them are difference makers. With Wiseman, the Warriors are getting an athletic big man with elite size for the position. Wiseman is 7'1" with a super long 7'6" wingspan. With that size, Wiseman can block shots and rebound the ball at a high level. On offense, Wiseman can finish around the rim, and he has a really nice mid-range jumper. With this pick, the Hornets potentially lock up their franchise center. With the number 4 pick, the Bulls are going to select Deni Avdija. The Chicago Bulls have a lot of young talent at multiple positions, but they weren't able to win too many games this year, in large part due to injuries. Zach LaVine had an all-star caliber year. Kobe White had a good rookie year. And Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. are both very talented, but they've been unable to shake injuries. The Bulls go with Deni because he could be a nice fit with the Bulls' young core. Deni is a 6'9" forward with a nice all-around game. He's a good defender, he can pass the ball pretty well, he can score off the dribble, but he really needs to work on his shooting. Otto Porter Jr. has been a bust for the Bulls, so Avdija instead could be the Bulls' small forward of the future. With the number 5 pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Obi Toppin. According to Bleacher Report, Obi is in the mix to be selected 5th overall by the Cavaliers. With Toppin, the Cavs get the most skilled big man in the draft. He could score on the block, he could shoot the ball from deep, and he could pass really well. The main concern scouts have with Toppin is his defense, as he's pretty slow laterally. For this reason, many believe Toppin's role in the NBA should be center. With a 7'2" wingspan, Toppin should have the potential to be a solid rim protector. The Cavaliers are still in the talent acquisition phase of their rebuild, so this is a good player to add alongside their backcourt of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. With the number 6 pick, the Hawks select Tyrese Haliburton. The Hawks have their franchise player Trae Young, but despite having him, the Hawks still finish with the second worst record in the East. The Hawks have a lot of offensive talent between Young, Kevin Huerter, and John Collins, but there aren't enough guys on this roster that play defense. With Haliburton, the Hawks are getting a backcourt partner for Young that could be the perfect complement for him. Haliburton is a very good defender, and he shot 42% from 3 for Iowa State. Haliburton could be the perfect complement for Young because he could be a low-usage player on offense that hits the open three-pointers while guarding the toughest offensive assignment on the other team's backcourt. This isn't a splashy pick by any means, but Haliburton is a great fit on the Hawks. With the number 7 pick, the Pistons select Isaac Okoro. The Pistons have arguably the hardest rebuild in the NBA. This is a team that has very little young talent. The Blake Griffin trade, as I predicted, completely backfired. The move gave the team a tiny amount of short-term success, and now they're stuck with a horrible contract for the next 2 years. The Pistons just need young talent, and here they get one of the highest upside guys in the draft. Okoro won't dominate day one, but he's an extremely athletic 6'6" forward who plays elite defense and can slash to the rim. He needs to work on his jumper as he doesn't shoot well from anywhere on the floor, but for the Pistons, that's fine. This rebuild is going to take years, so letting Okoro develop on a bad roster when next year's draft is even more stacked is great for them. With the 8th pick, the Knicks select Killian Hayes out of France. The Knicks have 2 strong building blocks in RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson, but they desperately need a quality point guard. Killian Hayes is easily the best point guard in the draft after Ball in my opinion, and it looks like the Knicks front office agrees with me since they reportedly rank Hayes as their favorite point guard right after LaMelo Ball. With Hayes, the Knicks are getting a point guard out of France with elite size for the position at 6'5" with a 6'9" wingspan. He's easily the best playmaker in this draft right after Ball because similar to Ball, his court vision is excellent. He's also got a really nice handle, he can drive and finish at the hoop, and he has a really nice pull-up jumper from mid-range. His main weakness is scoring with his right hand and spot-up shooting, but the all-star potential is clearly there. With this pick, the Knicks finally land their point guard of the future. With the 9th pick, the Wizards will select Devin Vassell. Vassell is one of those players in the draft that's viewed as having a high floor and a low ceiling. He's expected to be a good 3-and-D player, but not too many people see a future all-star. This could be ideal for Washington because they need to start winning ASAP to keep Bradley Beal happy. With Vassell, the Wizards are getting a wing player with good size that defends really well and is also a knockdown outside shooter. He could start for the Wizards day one, and with Wall back next year, the Wizards will be looking to make a postseason run. With the 10th pick, the Suns will select Kira Lewis Jr. out of Alabama. Even though the Suns missed the playoffs, this was a really progressive year for them. They went undefeated in the bubble and missed the playoffs by just a hair. They could have easily gotten the 8th seed if DeAndre Ayton wasn't suspended for the first 25 games. With Kira, the Suns land their point guard of the future. Rubio has been solid for them, but Rubio is already 30. Other point guards like Cole Anthony are ranked higher than Kira, but I think Kira will be a top 10 pick. He's the fastest guard in this draft, and he has the ability to finish at the hoop really well and set up his teammates. He's also a very solid shooter. This is a really nice pick for the Suns. With the 11th pick, the Spurs select Patrick Williams. After 20 years of perennial title contention, it's finally time for the Spurs to rebuild. DeMar DeRozan is good as gone, and if the Spurs were smart, they trade LaMarcus Aldridge too. With Patrick Williams, the Spurs get a player who could be the perfect modern-day 4. He's a great defender, having the ability to not only guard multiple positions, but also protect the rim. He could even knock it down from deep, and he has flashy ability to put the ball on the floor and finish at the hoop. Williams will help to make a nice young core alongside DeJounte Murray and Derek White in San Antonio. With the 12th pick, the Kings select RJ Hampton. RJ was at one point projected to be a top 5 pick, but after a rough year in the NBL, his draft stock took a hit. Hampton is a very athletic combo guard with good size at 6'5" with a 6'7" wingspan. He has a really good ability to beat his man off the dribble with his handle and his quick first step, and he can finish with authority thanks to his bounce. With Hampton, the Kings get a player who could develop into a nice backcourt partner alongside De'Aaron Fox. Hampton still needs to improve his shooting, but in a few years, he could really turn into something special. With the 13th pick, the Pelicans select Saddiq Bey. The Pelicans have a lot of young talent between Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball, but they can also use some more 3-and-D players. Here, the Pelicans will select Bey for his shooting ability from deep and his defense. Saddiq Bey may not have a high upside, but he could be a nice role player to put alongside Zion and the rest of the Pelicans' young core. And lastly, with the 14th pick, the Celtics are going to select Precious Achiuwa out of Memphis. The Boston Celtics are a legit title contender. They have a top 10 point guard in Kemba Walker and 2 elite wing players between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. If there is one area where Boston is weak, it's size. With Precious, the Celtics get a player who might be able to fill Boston's hole at center. Precious is about 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan, and he's 235 pounds. With Precious, the Celtics land an excellent defensive big man who can not only protect the rim, but also switch onto the perimeter. Precious also rebounds extremely well, and he finishes really well around the paint. With this pick, Boston potentially makes themselves a lot closer to winning an NBA championship. So guys, that's going to be the end of the lottery picks, and that's going to be the end of the video. Do you agree with my mock draft? Who would you select differently? Tell me in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your day.